These complex multi-tool automation workflows that are designed for really just one specific outcome, hyper performance.
And it feels like this perfect blend, doesn't it? It's like aggressive, organized, old-school sales strategy.
But paired with the absolute sharpest new school tech you can get.
Exactly. And our mission today is really to unpack that, to take you through the architecture of these systems that are built to shrink, hours of really complex, intensive work,
Things like lead research, proposal drafting, even performance coaching.
and turn all of that into just minutes of simple review, high leverage action.
And I think what's so compelling about this material is the sheer scope of it. I mean, we're seeing this exact architecture applied across business development, data retrieval in RevOps.
And even, which we'll get into, the optimization of human potential through coaching. It's kind of wild.
It is. So before we get into those specific applications, what's the common DNA here? What are the core components that make up this stack?
What's fascinating is how consistent the stack is across all these different uses. At the very heart of it, the central intelligence is Google's Gemini AI, usually Gemini Ultra or Vision.
That's the brain.
That's the brain. It provides all the advanced reasoning and analysis.
So if Gemini is the brain, what's handling the movement? What's the nervous system?
That would be Make.com. It's the orchestrator.
Oh.
The central nervous system is a great way to put it. It's like an air traffic controller, handling all the triggers, the routing, making sure data flows from A to B correctly.
And that's a key distinction for you listening. Make.com isn't doing the thinking. It's just managing the traffic based on what the AI decides.
Precisely. And then the hub, the CRM, is almost always Notion. It just has that flexibility you need for sales data and, as we'll see, for complex client performance data.
Okay, and the inputs.
Conversation capture is handled by Fireflies.ai, which is vital. And the anchor, the thing that makes it all trustworthy, is Notebook LM. That's the knowledge base. It grounds everything the AI says in your own proprietary data.
Okay, let's unpack that. Let's see how this stack is first applied to the revenue engine, starting with a business development manager's workflow. The visualization in the sources it's kind of startling how fast it is.
It's built for one thing, velocity. The entire really complex process kicks off with the simplest possible action.
Which is?
A new lead email lands in the inbox. That one event that sets off this whole cascading workflow that just runs in the background.
And that initial analysis phase, what the source is called the purple brain, that's where the real IP is, isn't it? It's not just checking a few data points.
Oh, not at all. Gemini isn't just analyzing company details. It's pinpointing pain points. It's looking for budget signals. It's determining sentiment, intent.
And it cross-references all of that with frameworks pulled from a library of 52 books.
Wait, let's pause on that. The 52 books detail. Because that's the moat. That's the competitive advantage right there.
How so?
The BD manager isn't getting generic ChatGPT-style advice. They're getting a synthesis that's grounded in a proprietary, curated library. These aren't just any sales books. They're probably specific models, negotiation tactics, the company's core IP.
Right. So it provides a unique intellectual lens that a public AI just can't replicate. And all that synthesis happens in parallel from one email.
And that depth of analysis is what allows the system to immediately split the workflow into two parallel tracks. And they're both completed within, 5 to 10 minutes of the email arriving.
So describe those two tracks for us. What's happening simultaneously?
Okay, so the left track is foundational. It's profile building. The system auto-creates the lead profile in Notion. But the critical part is the enrichment. It instantly pulls in data from LinkedIn, news articles, competitor analysis.
Which eliminates that first tedious hour of manual research.
Gone. And while that's happening, the right track is firing off. That's the content creation. Direct revenue acceleration.
Okay.
So based on that initial analysis, the system drafts a custom proposal in Google Docs using approved templates. It drafts a highly personalized email in Gmail that speaks directly to those pain points it found. And critically, it generates a full meeting prep package.
A prep package, so like an agenda.
An agenda. Specific questions designed to uncover budget, talking points tailored to their industry, and to top it all off, it automatically schedules follow-up sequences. Day 3, Day 7, Day 14.
So what does this massive acceleration actually mean for the BD manager sitting at their desk?
It means by the time they finish their coffee, all of those key deliverables are just sitting on their dashboard, ready to go.
They're not drafting, they're not researching.
They're not scheduling, they just need to review it, maybe tweak the tone a little, and hit send. This whole workflow turns. What was easily 2 hours of work per lead into maybe 15 minutes of review time.
15 minutes. That's the difference between starting your day buried in research and starting it with 7 personalized pitches already in your draft folder.
It completely shifts the human's role. You go from low-value clerical work to high-value strategic review.
Okay, so that solves the cold outreach problem. But the sources point out that speed is useless if the intelligence you get from the actual conversation is slow or, worse, unsecured.
Right.
And this moves us into the RevOps engine, what they call the sales velocity loop. It's designed to reduce friction from conversation to intelligence to action.
This is a really important transition.
Right.
Because once a sales call gets captured by Fireflies, Gemini takes on this crucial new role, becomes a gatekeeper.
A gatekeeper for what?
It has a few non-negotiable tasks, and the very first one comes before any sales analysis even happens.
So after the call is captured, what is that first absolute must-do step?
Security, specifically PII redaction.
Personally identifiable information.
Exactly. This is a critical compliance detail for anyone dealing with transcripts. Gemini acts as a dedicated scrubber. It uses a specific system prompt to find and automatically redact all of that PII, social security numbers, credit card details, you name it, before the raw transcript ever hits the CRM.
And why is that timing so critical for you listening? Scrubbing it before it hits the database. Is this just about privacy?
It's about avoiding massive financial and legal risk. I mean, if unredacted PII gets stored in a database that isn't built for that level of security, you are immediately liable for huge compliance breaches. That scrubber prompt is the vital step that lets you use the transcript for intelligence without taking on catastrophic risk.
Okay, that makes the stakes crystal clear. So once the data is clean and secure, the moat, the competitive advantage, kicks in. And the sources call this retrieval augmented generation, or AGJ.
Arrays is the essential concept here. In simple terms, it just means the system can look up facts in your own verified internal documents before it generates an answer. It stops the AI from just making things up or using generic web data.
So the moat isn't the tools, it's the knowledge base you feed into Notebook LM.
That's it. It's your proprietary structured knowledge.
And the sources have this fantastic real-world example using motorcycles.
Right. So a generic AI might see a picture and say, that's a motorcycle. But with Gemini vision plus this RAG architecture, the system sees it and identifies a 2018 Harley-Davidson Fat Bob 114 with the industrial gray denim paint.
That's specific.
And then it queries the internal vehicle master database in Notebook LM for the precise technical specs. Things like the exact rake angle or component codes, what the source calls seating settings.
That is product knowledge at a ridiculously verified level. And I'm guessing that intelligence then translates directly into automated action through Make.com.
It does. This is where Make.com, the traffic cop, comes back in. The system uses scoring, like a buying signal score. If that buying signal score is, say, greater than 8,
High intent.
Make.com instantly routes the action. It triggers the creation of a special Notion page labeled Hot Lead Customer Name with the status set to Immediate Action Required.
And for the leads that don't hit that threshold, a 4 or a 5.
They get routed somewhere else. Maybe the transcript and summary go into a long-term nurturing database, perhaps via Readwise. Nothing falls through the cracks, but you're not triggering a high-priority alert for a low-intent lead. It keeps the team focused.
We've seen how this handles sales, how it handles RevOps. Now, let's pivot to the most unique application in these sources. One that shifts the focus from business metrics to human performance coaching.
This is where it gets really interesting, the augmented performance architect. You have this career coach who is basically acting as an engineer for human potential using this exact same tech stack.
But for what? To optimize a client's career strategy? High-stakes
That's
interviews.
all of the above. The inputs and outputs here aren't technical specs, they're biological and psychological data.
So how does the coach even configure this stack to analyze human behavior?
They use the same input method. Fireflies captures mock interviews with the client, but the analysis is looking for sentiment markers, talk-to-listen ratios, how often they use filler words.
And Readwise.
Readwise is constantly feeding the system real-time industry highlights relevant to the client's job search. And all of this gets aggregated in Notion, which becomes this living dashboard for the client's progress.
And their secret weapon is still Notebook LM, the synthesis engine, but I'm guessing it's not loaded with Harley specs?
No, absolutely not. Notebook LM grounds all of the coach's advice by analyzing the client's transcripts against the coach's own proprietary IP and reports on the target company. So every piece of advice is verified against source material and tailored to the client's psychology and the employer's needs.
That proprietary IP is the most fascinating part. It's built on this idea that emotional intelligence isn't just a soft skill, it's a physiological event.
That is the intellectual edge. The coach has curated this private custom library of 100 books focused on, well, on human-centric data, neuroscience, polyvagal theory, nonverbal dominance, the actual biology of charisma.
So for you listening, this isn't abstract coaching advice. It's grounded in measurable biological reality.
Exactly. So when a client struggles with something like imposter syndrome during a pitch, the coach doesn't just offer encouragement, they offer performance engineering. They pull verified data from that physiology library, explaining what is physically happening in the client's body during that stress response.
And the outcome of that is?
A physical intervention. Because they understand the physiology, they can prescribe specific breath work or a change in posture that the client can use in real time to counteract that biological stress.
So it turns a psychological problem into a solvable engineering problem.
Backed by data.
Yes. That level of customized, data-driven advice is incredibly compelling, but it also sounds incredibly difficult to build and maintain. We have to address the reality check in the sources, the look under the hood at the confidential complete code and API repository.
Right, it's so important to be skeptical of seamless automation. Building these systems is complex, and the sources are really honest about that with their integration health check status report. It shows the reality of development.
So give us a sense of that health check. What's the status?
Well, some integrations are struggling. The Firefly's connection is listed as partial because of auth issues. And most tellingly, Make.com itself is partial. It's active, it's running the workflow, but it has a documented 15% error rate.
Wow.
And Readwise, that long-term nurturing loop, is still listed as pending. It's not even configured yet.
A 15% error rate in your central orchestrator is. That's significant. What does that mean in practice?
It means 15 out of every 100 automated actions are failing. It means the BD manager is having to manually check on a big chunk of their leads, which kind of defeats the whole purpose of hyper-automation. It just proves that building is only half the battle. Maintenance and vigilance are non-negotiable.
And speaking of vigilance, we have to talk about security protocols again.
Absolutely. The repository is explicit. All your API keys, your authentication tokens, the literal keys to your kingdom, like the Google AI Studio key and Notion tokens, they have to be secured. If those are compromised, your whole system is exposed.
And let's just reiterate the mandatory PII redaction layer.
One more time. The scrubber prompt is the indispensable mandatory first step. It ensures that raw, sensitive transcript data never even touches your database. Security is built into the workflow before any data is processed or stored.
So we've covered the whole journey today, from automated cold outreach and sales intelligence, all the way to this revolutionary application of biodata to engineer peak human performance. What stands out to you as the ultimate unifying takeaway from all this?
The recurring theme for me is that the IQ of the entire system depends entirely on the quality of the information you feed it. The tools, Gemini, Notion, make their commodities. Anyone can get them. The real power, the true moat, is that proprietary structured knowledge base.
Right.
Whether that's the database of Harley-Davidson specs or the coach's 100-book library on the physiology of charisma, the value is in grounding the AI's output in your unique verified expertise that nobody else has.
And I think this raises a really important question for you, the learner, to consider as you step back from this deep dive. If performance, if high-stakes communication, if even emotional intelligence can be engineered down to verifiable physiological responses and data structures, what does this level of automation demand from us, from our critical thinking or continuous data validation? The machine can draft the proposal and it can prescribe the breathwork, but the human, ultimately, must ensure the proprietary data feeding it is fundamentally true, accurate, and strategically sound.